What's up, y'all? I wanted to make this video to talk to you all about my journey recovering from academic suspension and, just give you all some hope if you're struggling with academic probation. Are you currently going through the suspension process, having to sit out of school and, do whatever to get back on track? So I believe it was the fall of spring of 2016 that I started my suspension. I was placed on leave from my institution December of 2015, and my suspension started that fall, I believe, or maybe it was the fall of 2017. The dates are really foggy because it feels like so long ago, and I've done so much since then, so the exact date is very tough. But I know when I started my process, it was just, having to reevaluate everything. I had to reevaluate and think, was school right for me? Was I on the right path seeking a degree? That's something that you need to start with. Are you getting this degree because you want this degree, or are you getting this degree because somebody else is telling you that you have to? So if it's something that you want to do, these are some things that you can kind of implement or try to do to get back on track. So when I set out, I just, like I said, reevaluated. When I decided and put a check mark on, yes, I want a degree, I know that this is the path for me. Put a check mark. Then I moved on. What skills and talents do I have that kind of align me with the degree program? What degree would kind of go with the skills and things that the attributes that I already have? I found that I was a great speaker. I love to talk. I was very into social topics, issues of LGBTQ people, women's rights, things like that. All interests were things that were of interest to me. And so I first thought that I wanted to go into social media or a media related career. So once I went to junior college, because that's what I decided to do, I took a few courses during that period of my suspension. I took a few courses at community college, which I had to pay for out of pocket. And this is the thing, when you are placed on suspension, you do not have to just sit still and not do anything. You can take courses at a community college. You just have to pay for them. You cannot use any financial aid to cover the expenses. So I would suggest that you go to a community college. That way, my classes were only $290 something, $302 after taxes, I believe. So these were very cheap options. I did that to kind of test the water, build up my confidence to know that, I'm not dumb. And that's the thing, you're not dumb. That's one of the first things that came into my mind when I started going down this path of not performing well in classes and things like that. I was like, you're dumb. You're just not smart. And that's something that that's a mental state you have to dig yourself out of. You're not dumb. There's nothing wrong with you. Oftentimes it's just the pressure of being in a new environment. One of the things that somebody told me is you've been a student all your life, but you've never been a student while having to exist on your own. It's a different social setting. It's a different environment in itself. So it's tons of stresses and tons of influences around you. And sometimes you get overloaded. Your thoughts get overloaded, and you just sink into this place to where you can't perform because in your mind is not clear. So just take some classes at a community college, build back up that confidence as a student. And when you're doing all of this, make sure you're communicating with your professors. Any small question that you have, reach out. No matter how big or small, there isn't a stupid question, anything like that, because that is one of the most important things to recovering is your ability to communicate with your professors. So you want to start ASAP. So I went to that community college, took 3 or 4 classes, I believe. My lowest grade was a B. And that really kind of helped me be yeah, I can get back into this. So then I decided to go to a junior college. At the junior college, I decided to major in radio, television, and film. And while I was there, I did great. My lowest grade was a C, but still, it was getting back into the swing of things. I was still kind of below the average class load. I believe I took like 12 credits my first semester out and then 15 the next. So just move at your own pace. Don't let anybody rush you or feel like, you have to get done in a certain period of time. Your comfortability is the priority. Your ability to actually make it through is your priority. So move at your own speed, move at your own pace. Don't let anybody tell you, well, I think you could take 2 more classes. If you don't feel comfortable taking 2 more classes, don't take 2 more classes. While I was there, I decided to be more active on campus. That was one of the things that I kind of didn't do my first time around, was put myself out there in social settings. So I decided I would get more involved. I would go to the student center and talk to people. I would participate in creating events and just going to sporting events and things of that nature. And that really impacted me once I was able to build this social circle of people who were like myself, people who were focused on their grades and academics, but also wanted to, have that college experience. That kind of that was a healthy balance for me. So I went to junior college for a year, and then I decided to transfer to a 4-year university, in which I'm about to graduate from in just a few days, 6 days almost, December 12th. So I decided to go to Prairie View A&M University, which is a HBCU located in Texas. And when I got there, I switched my major because they didn't offer radio, television, or film. It was just mass comm and communication studies. I decided to go the communication studies route because, like I said, I was interested in more like social issues, like I said, LGBTQ rights, women's issues, race issues, things like that. Those are kind of like what my classes were based off of. I took a gender communication course, a media crit course where we talked about issues of race, gender, sexuality, things like that. So just once you find something that you're interested in, it is a lot easier to perform well. And I did. I'm graduating with a 3.7 GPA, just 3.77 GPA, and kind of towards the top of my class. So once you find out what works for you, it's easier for you to implement a game plan to perform. And when I got there, it was like once my feet were on the ground, it was the same thing that I was doing at junior college. I was talking to my professors. My first day of class, I made sure my professors knew my name. I went up to each one of them at the end of class. Hello, my name is Deontay Johnson. I really appreciate, being able to take this course, and I can't wait to learn what you have to teach me. And just every day I would go up to my professors and let them know, like, I was listening. I really like what you said earlier about so and so and so and so, and it made me think about a time. Things like that. Your professors like to see that you're engaged, and this also makes it easier when you're reaching a place where you're struggling to reach out to them and get help, because they know that you're really interested and you're really actively trying to, retain the information and things like that. So they take an interest in you, and they start to see that, okay, this student is serious, so I'm going to help push them forward a little bit in the right path if they start to sway off a little bit. And that made a huge difference. And like I said, your social circle matters. I had a group of friends for literally everything. I had a group of friends in my department. I had a group of friends who were outside of my department, but in other majors. But one thing that all of my friend groups had in common was they were hard workers, and they put their grades, their academic journeys before anything. So it was always work and then play. And sometimes it doesn't work like that. Let me just be truthful. Me, myself, I'm a procrastinator. So sometimes it's not always work, play. Sometimes it is play, work, play, work, or maybe play, work. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, I have an assignment due in an hour. Let me start now. But I knew what level I was able to perform at. And I always made sure that I gave myself enough time to kind of hit those marks, to make sure I got that assignment in at the right time. Um, it was never a thing of, you know, 10 minutes before assignment due, I'm trying to write a 10-page paper. That wasn't realistic to me. You know, if I had, one time I had a 10-page paper and I started it a few days before, to me, that I was able to know that, you know, I was able to perform and actually get my paper done in those few days. You know, I knew my ability to write and to, you know, go out and pull research and cite sources. You know, I knew that was something I could do overnight. So I just gave myself a few days to, you know, make sure I set that up and wasn't stressed cramming everything in at the last minute. But, you know, I gave myself enough time, enough leeway to step away and also go do other things in that time. Um, the same thing with, you know, participating in organizations. I got involved more. I was a student mentor. This past semester, I was the president of an organization. I joined 3 honor societies within, you know, this past 2 or 3 years. So just, you know, do things, set goals, but make sure they're realistic goals. So don't say that. One of the things that I said is I will graduate with a 3.6 GPA or a 3.5 plus GPA. That was a goal that I set for myself. I didn't say that in one semester my GPA was going to jump up to a 3.5, because to me that wasn't realistic. Now, after my first semester there, that semester GPA was a 3.6. And then my second semester, my GPA was a 3.65. And then, you know, I took some summer courses, and over time my GPA did get up, like I said, to a 3.7 plus. But, you know, make sure these goals are attainable, make sure they're realistic. One of the things I never tried to tell myself is I'm going to make straight A's. I just knew that, you know, it is realistic, but it wasn't one of those things, because, you know, you kind of set a goal that I'm going to have a 4.0 GPA, and then you make a B and you kind of get out of whack and in your head about things. So I didn't want to put myself in that situation to come crashing back down to earth again. I kind of wanted to be realistic. So that's why I was a 3.5 plus. A 3.5 is, you know, a high B, all A's and a few B's, you know, kind of a balance of both. And that's what I did. Another thing is, you know, guidance. Guidance was a huge thing for me, making sure that it was faculty members and staff members that I could talk to. Talk to your advisors, talk to your professors. If you're struggling, go talk to people on campuses. You know, they have tons of resources, counselors, things like that. Go talk to these people. These people want you in their office. They don't want to sit at work all day not doing anything. You know, it was people in student affairs that I want to talk to. It was people in student engagement that I want to talk to, because these people are professionals. They specialize in these types of things. You know, when they're going through their master's programs or whatever the case may be, these are things that they get taught, is how to mentor, how to give feedback, and, you know, how to kind of get students to get out of their head and get back into the swing of things. You know, retention is like a big thing in all of these office, student affairs, student engagement. So these people want you, when you're struggling, to come talk to them. And just, you know, Google is your best friend. Like I said, when I first got suspended, I didn't have a ton of resources to know how I was going to navigate this. I had to go out, I had to Google search, I had to search it for myself. And these were a lot of things that I either found on Google, or had to learn the hard way myself. And a few of them were things that people actually told me. But, you know, you can recover from probation, you can recover from suspension. It's not a, you know, well, it happened, so I just have to, you know, that's just it for college. You know, I was put on probation, so maybe college isn't for me. I was suspended from college, so maybe it's just not for me. I'm gonna go do something else. No, that's not what that means. That means you have to work harder. You have to work harder. You either sink or you swim. And if you're gonna sink, you know, it's gonna be 30 times as hard as what you dealt with academically as a student. If you're going to swim, it's going to be tough, but it's not going to be as tough as sinking. And, having to literally build from underneath the ground, like the depths of earth up, versus, from the ground up if you try to go back out there again. And that's the thing, you make mistakes. We make mistakes. There's no such thing as a perfect student. I don't care. If you have a 4.0, you're still not a perfect student. You're not a perfect student because it's something that you dealt with as a student that, you felt like you could have done better. Maybe it was academic performance, socializing, being more involved on campus, whatever the case may be. There's always room somewhere for you to improve. And, when you're going through academic probation or suspension, it's tough. It's hard. I know. Been there. Been there. My GPA was like a 0.89 or something like that but when I got suspended. So my story is literally, you can recover from this. It's mental, it's emotional, it takes hard work, but you can do it. I'm going to be back with a few more videos. In my next videos, I want to kind of sit down and talk to some people just so we can kind of create a discussion to talk about things like this. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.